I think the biggest hurdle for selling Med Supp is getting a premium.
Yeah.
I think that's the number one hurdle. I think that's the number one reason why you guys aren't selling Med Supp. So maybe you could. So let's kind of in a role play situation, right? If you have an agent who's never sold Med Supp before, or they've sold very little Med Supp, they're nervous about it. What would be your advice on how to get a premium without sweating it, without concerns like, hey, this is how you're going to ask for the premium? They might be used to not paying. They might used to be paying a really small amount. What's your pitch on that? Because I think that's probably the number one hurdle for agents.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and with Med Supp, right, you're going to have three scenarios. You're going to have number one, they're already on a Med Supp and you're lowering their premium, to which that
Right.
one's easy because
Yeah.
they're already used to paying a
Layup.
premium. You're
Yeah.
lowering it. Two, someone's on an MA plan and you're transitioning them from the MA plan into a Med Supp. That one's might be a little tougher, but we'll talk
That's
about
the
it.
harder. Yeah,
Um,
that's the harder one.
Three, you're dealing with someone that's new to Medicare coming in, turning 65, Med Supp person, right? They're probably used to paying a premium also. Now, what I've always found with Med Supp is the best way to sell it and the best way to get them to wrap their heads around that premium is by building the value of it, right? Like, it's not the same thing as an MA plan. It has unique strengths that an MA plan doesn't have. So by highlighting the pain points of an MA, and what are the pain points, right? Network restrictions. There's more plans next year adding referrals to see specialists and more restrictions, making it harder to do what you want inside of the plan. People hate that. That's a pain point. You don't have that with Med Supp. Prior authorizations, you mostly don't have that with Med Supp. Network restrictions, right? Your doctor might be in the network today, could be mid-year, and they could fall out of the network with an MA plan. There's nothing you can do about it. You don't have that with a Med Supp. Portable, you can use it anywhere. And then, of course, no out-of-pocket, right? No copays.
Out-of-pocket expenses.
Very, very little, if any, out-of-pocket, depending on the Med Supp plan itself. And so you're building the value of it. You know, like what I've always told clients myself when I was selling is I would say, like, a Med Supp plan might cost more than a Medicare Advantage plan, but it's not apples and oranges. I mean, it's not apples and apples, excuse me. It's apples and oranges. And your Med Supp plan is the top shelf medical coverage. It's the best medical coverage that money can buy. In a way, it's like an asset. Once you have it, you can't lose it as long as you pay your premium. It's guaranteed renewable. And, you know, if you want peace of mind when you go to bed, when you go to sleep at night, knowing that no matter what happens to you, you're largely going to be very well protected as well as you can be on a Medicare supplement plan, that's what you're paying for with the Med Supp. That's the value that you're paying for. Now, when it comes to actually like getting a premium, well, you sell them on the plan first. Getting the premium is the easy part. Once they agree to it, you don't make a big deal about it. They don't make a big deal about it. I've said this oftentimes with scopes. It's kind of a similar thing. You're going through the application and it's like, okay, Mrs. Jones, you know, they give a couple of different options on how you can pay the premium. Our most recommended way that most people do is a direct withdrawal out of a bank account. I'll just need an account number and to know the name of the bank you use. You know, and like some people will say, I need the account number and the routing number. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be like, I just need to know your bank. I'll find the routing number because I don't want them to have to give me
Right,
more numbers. I want to
less
make it as easy
information.
as possible. I'll find the
Yeah.
routing number.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing is just getting them to understand how much better coverage they're getting on a Med Supp versus on an MA, and then getting them to wrap their heads around that additional premium every month. And I think the hardest of those three to do that with is Medicare Advantage, but you could point to the disruption of Medicare Advantage. You could point to all the changes that they might have been seeing and going through. And, you know, the value proposition could be, hey, are you tired of dealing with this? I know you've been through this for a couple of years now. It might be time to look or think about getting a Med Supp plan. because you're not going to experience this every year. The coverage is never
Uh,
going to change.
the premium thing, like selling final expense, obviously this was a big sticking point. It was like, hey, you got to pay for this. Like I need, so my go-to, obviously when I was selling face-to-face, I was like, I need a voided check. I'm like, this has to go in with the application. And this is going to be coming out of your account automatically every month. The thing I want to, my piece of advice surrounding this I want to share with you guys is like how, if you make a big deal about it, it's going to be a big deal to your prospect. If you're like, well, do you have money to pay it, or is it okay? Are you okay if we like do an automatic draft out of your bank account? Is that okay? Like if you try to approach this in a way where you think you're making it easier for them, but if you're really nervous about it, they're gonna feel that emotion will transfer to them, and it will be a big deal, and they're gonna throw up every wall, and they'll try everything they can to stop this from happening. Being just very direct and kind of nonchalant about it, very similar to what Christian just said. Hey, um, obviously you don't want to miss a premium because then you're not going to have insurance anymore. So this has to come automatically out of your account. If you're face to face, I love the voided check. Just be like, I need a voided check. This is going in with the application. The carrier has to have it. If you're selling over the phone, maybe you're asking for it a little differently. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I do need your account number and I need to know the name of the bank that you're working with, and this premium will be automatically drafted out of your account. It's not going to have my name on your bank statement. You'll see the carrier will be listed every time that premium comes out. So don't be fearful is kind of the bottom line here. Like if you make a big deal about this, it's going to make it so much harder. And again, I'm telling you this as an agent, right? The question that came up is like, explain this from an agent's point of view. Well, from an agent's point of view, I've done it both ways. I've made a huge deal about, hey, how are you going to pay for this, Mrs. Jones? And then I've taken the other approach of, okay, like, obviously we know you need this. We just talked about it. I just need a voided check to go in with the application. This is going to come out of your bank every month. No big deal. Like it's that simple, and for whatever reason that this is a major sticking point, I feel like, for you guys. And I think a lot of you have just been so used to not selling a premium. So maybe it's just new, maybe that's a big part of it. But I think if you can overcome that hurdle, I think you're off to the races.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree. As we kind of get close to top of time, I think it might be good to move in some final thoughts. I think we did a pretty good job of providing some actionable value there.
Yeah.
And of course, any questions you guys have, comment them. We'll do our best to respond back and give you guys some guidance and some advice. But I mean, for me, my final thoughts, guys, are I understand there's some markets that are trickier than others. I don't believe there's any situation you can present me where there's not some opportunity to make progress and grow this AEP. If you believe that our space has a future, and I do, I've talked about this into the ground on this podcast. I believe we're going through a bit of a reset. And with that brings disruption. And I feel like, for some of you, it's just surviving. But part of surviving is growing a little bit. You know what I mean? You could have the best customer service in the world. You're going to lose some people this year. Unless you have 5 clients. Maybe you can take care of those 5 clients and you can keep those 5 clients. You can spend all your time chasing those 5 clients around, switching them back when they sign up with a commercial or something. But like if you have a decent number of clients, you're going to lose some this AEP. So having some type of growth plan built into what you're going to be doing is a really, really wise idea, in my opinion. And I don't believe there's any area that it's not possible in. There's some areas certainly that are tougher than others. Now, like I said, 95% of areas probably this is not really as big of a thing as other areas. So take it with a grain of salt, but that's my final thoughts, you guys.
Guys, my final thoughts on today's episode. First of all, North Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, There you go, South Dakota. Every state touching you. I threw Michigan out in the moment. It's not even touching. Oh man. My final thoughts on today's episode though is like, again, if you're still in this camp of thinking that the world's ending, thinking that there's no way forward, I feel like, again, there was a lot of really actionable content here. You could also just do a total left turn if you really wanted to and take Mr. Betancourt's advice and try to go full advisor mode. You know, if you want to get really wild and stop taking commissions from carriers, I wouldn't advise that. That wouldn't be my recommendation to you or to any agents listening. But there's a Department of Insurance commissioner who threw that one out there just a little over a week ago. So I think regardless, the main point here is, I know we've really been hammering this home, but I'll say it again, is like there's a path forward here. You can have one of your best AAPs you've ever had as an independent agent, as a producer, as an agency owner, and Med Supp can be a big part of that. Again, shout out to $19 leads at Lead Heroes. I think this is a huge opportunity for you guys to be able to continue to grow. And when the pendulum swings back, which it will, it 100% will, Medicare is not going anywhere, you guys. We have more seniors turning 65 right now than ever before. This is something that is so needed on such a large scale. And as producers, we're needed in a big way. So yes, there's some turbulence right now, but this will swing back. And those who adapt and can make it through this current atmosphere, you're going to see yourself in such a great position when you get to the other side. So those are my final thoughts on today's episode.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Episode 165, Super Medicare episode. And whatever platform you're listening to us on, whether it be live, video, audio, pre-recorded, whatever the case might be, give us a like, comment, subscribe, 5-star review, whatever the platform of your choice allows you to do to support the show. We certainly would appreciate it. It helps more agents just like you find the show who desperately need to hear the information. And until next time, guys, here's to your massive success. And let's save the subs. Get your $19 Med Supp leads while you can. Thanks, everybody.